we are seeing now, it seems, an acceleration in terms of the decoupling in the capital market space between the US and China. Where do you think this goes ultimately?
Yeah, my opinion is that we're 13 days out before you have a turnover in the administration of the United States, and I think this is a last gasp by China hawks in the Trump administration to try to box in Biden and his team to essentially try to lock in policies that will really push the envelope when it comes to confrontation with China, and to give less room for Biden's team to maneuver when they come into office. And so I think we're seeing the manifestation of that really happen and occur right now.
Okay, so logically then, would you expect the incoming Biden administration, particularly given your experience working under Joe Biden, would you expect that new administration to walk back some of these actions or at least slow down the process?
I think there will be, and I'm sure there'll be, a significant review period. For example, the executive order that was recently authorized doesn't go into effect until 45 days later into Biden's administration. So there will be a lot of thinking about what are the strategic implications of going forward with this, and what does a China policy look like under Biden in terms of where is confrontation and competition necessary, but is there also room for cooperation, such as on major issues like climate change? And so I think that kind of calibration is something that the Biden's team will have to, out of the starting gate, really think through.
Is there, Stephen, political support within the Democratic Party, and of course they now control, of course, just to mention both the House and the Senate. Is there support for a more lenient stance towards China? It's the key question, I would imagine. Not much.
I think there's a growing consensus that China has not been a responsible actor, that it's a significant adversary to the United States, and that there's a need to bring together alliances to counter China's influence. I think the question really is, how do you do it? And that's where there's a difference of opinion. I think some, the China hawks currently under Trump really want to go full throttle when it comes to undertaking an adversarial position. I think others say, look, use more nuance. But I think there's general acceptance and agreement that countering China needs to be a core component of U.S. foreign policy going forward.
Right. And in your view, in what form would that take? The question and how, which you brought up there.
Yeah, well, I mean, a good example is what has taken place in terms of the Hong Kong crackdown. I mean, certainly Xi Jinping hasn't given many reasons for Biden to take a more lenient position when these types of activities occur right before he takes office. And so, I think the difference is that you might see more use of some types of sanctions, bringing together democracies and having common positions, working with other allied partners and democracies against China's influence. I think that's kind of where you'll see things. I think you'll see less of the rhetoric that's been bombastic at times from the Trump administration. I think you'll also see more reflective policy. So rather than just drop a policy, see what happens, and really blow up the relationship, I think it'll be more strategic and more focused in terms of what the actual end goal might be.
Stephen, I know you spend a lot of time focusing on this issue, technology, and it's become increasingly clear, it's crystallized really, that between the two nations, technology, the battle, the competition over tech supremacy is going to be top of mind for leaders in both those nations for years to come. How do you think is there a trend that's going to shift under the new administration? How do you expect that battle over tech to play out?
Well, I think the general trend, setting regardless of the administration, is one of greater tech nationalism, of geopolitics really being implicated when it comes to technology. So that means that China's platforms are increasingly used by China, but separated from the United States and other countries, and vice versa. You have different ecosystems, you have cyber sovereignty principles, and so forth. And I think, those are trends will be hard to sort of withstand or stop under a Biden administration. So I think they'll continue. I think inevitably, until you see a major shift in policy, probably from China, this separation, this decoupling that you've mentioned, is inevitable.